Welcome, everybody, to the Old Gold Show with you as always. I'm Andrew Ledman, co-manager over at hammerandrails.com.
And I'm Casey. I just woke up from a nap, so I can't come up with anything clever. Bartley at Boiler Upload, Rivals Network.
Just to fill you all in, it is 8:30 p.m. on a Friday, and
Correct.
he is waking up from a 2-hour nap.
2 hour.
Some of us have children, Casey, and cannot take 2-hour naps in the evenings.
Some of us were up until 3 a.m. writing about a basketball game and then woke up at 8 a.m. to go golf.
I mean, you've made choices for sure.
Technically, I woke up at 8:30 to do a radio hit and then go golf.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as it was work, I'll allow it. But we're here to talk Purdue's, just absolutely incredible beatdown of Rutgers from yesterday. Yeah, decimation. 96-68 is your final score in that one. Just an incredible performance by the Purdue offense. And then in the second half, we're going to look ahead to Purdue's next game, which is going to be at Michigan. And that'll be a slightly different Michigan team than Purdue saw the first time. But we'll talk about that when we get there. So, this Rutgers game, just an absolute offensive explosion from this Purdue basketball team. I know the game isn't Mackey. It's at home, so we got to take that into account. They always play better at home. But, doing this against the number 3 ranked defense in KenPom, 96 points, just incredible performance by everyone. 52% from 3, 58% from the floor, 90% from the free throw line. Everything went right for this Purdue offense. I know you had an interview with PJ Thompson over on Boiler Upload the day before the game. Did you get anything from that conversation that you saw in action against Rutgers?
Yeah. So one of the things he touched on is he wasn't happy with his own performance. And a big thing was he told me that he was talking to his dad after the game, and his dad's like, I know TKR scored early, but Edie can't go 4 minutes without getting a ball to start the game. And I think he saw that in the very first possession.
Right.
Edie gets a look right away, design.
And scores. Yeah.
And scores. Yeah. So, and I do, and we talked a little bit about just it's how much easier it is to defend if they're getting into their stuff a little later. And just need to just in general, they needed a better game plan into coaches and players both needed to bring a little more than they did against Ohio State. And turns out they did against the number 2 defense in the nation.
Yeah. I think it, again, you and I have both pointed out how good this Rutgers defense is based on all the metrics, you see on KenPom. They might have been number 2 going in. They're number 3 today. So, allowing 96 points might have knocked him down a little bit. But
what's remarkable about that too is that's it's 9 minutes of game time. No, 11 minutes of game time without Zach Edey at the end, I think. And it was 8 minutes of full backups in there. So those cumulative game stats are with backups in for a long portion without Purdue's best offense. If Purdue kept the pedal to the metal, they dropped 120 on a team in college.
Yeah. Edey only played 27 minutes and he still was absolutely dominant. For those 27 minutes, 7 of 8 from the floor, 11 from the line, 25 points total. And as you said, however many minutes at the end of the game, just chilling on the bench, just enjoying a little bit of a breather. It was incredible. Everybody was clicking. Everybody with one notable exception was clicking. We can get to that.
I'm sure no one's mentioned it on the internet, Ledman.
Yeah, the internet, of course, kind and gentle place where everyone gives everyone the benefit of the doubt. So do you want to just get into that conversation now?
You watch that game, there's no other way than to talk about Camden Heide for 18 minutes, one for each point. Let's go about every play. Has there been a more enjoyable, perfect 19 minutes on a basketball court than you've ever seen?
He was incredible.
4 of 4 from 3, and that was the easy part. That was just being open and there is something to be said for Camden Heide is a uber athlete. He is 6'7". He is 220, 230. And he has the prettiest, just simple mechanics for a jump shot. There is no effort in that 3-pointer. And So to have that attached to a guy who can do the 3 layups he had, well, 2 layups, 1 dunk,
Yeah,
were just
yeah.
the icing on a cake on like, in a just, you're not supposed to be able to do all of those things.
Both of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
The,
the the Michael Jordan impression of the, under the hoop reverse layup, double clutch kind of over his shoulder. I mean, somebody spliced that together with that, famous Jordan layup, and they put him on
Heidi
Twitter
got
side by
higher.
side.
Heidi
He
might have got
did.
higher.
He did. But I mean, they looked so similar just watching it. And you have to take a step back and realize what you're seeing, because this is his first year
Right.
playing in this Purdue program. And yeah, he's been up and down. He's not getting a ton of minutes every night. I mean, I think a performance like this, it's hard to ignore, in the heart of the Big Ten season against a really great defensive team,
Mhm.
7 for 7 from the floor, doesn't miss a single shot. Yeah, I mean, he's not a perfect defender yet. He's got flaws, but he's a freshman.
Yeah.
Um, he
Like,
just looked incredible.
yeah, being
His best game of his career.
100% best game of most people's career.
Well,
It's
yeah,
going to be
that's
a hard
true.
one to top. Basketball is so much about being like comfortable and confident. And I wonder how much seeing Rutgers for the second time, especially when the second time's at home, does that add an
Yeah.
era for someone who hasn't been through all this before? He was around the program last year, obviously redshirting, but didn't play. It's just when it's that easy off the bench, and like you do give some credit to Braden Smith, Zach Edey, everything around them, but like coming off the bench, that's what Purdue needed. It didn't get anything off the bench in Ohio State. 4 points
Right.
from the entire bench. So this is what we were screaming for. This is what we needed. Some production from more people than just Braden Smith and Zach Edey and Lance Jones, which I think there is a conversation to be had. Don't let me walk away with, like, Lance Jones belongs next to those two. And we've kind of
Yeah.
forgotten it because he started off with like this super high variance. Like it was just like, oh, Lance Jones is chaos. And we
Yeah.
don't know what we're getting. He's still
Right.
chaos, but like the production is now there every day.
Yeah.
Like the one game where in like the one game in the last like 10 that he hasn't scored in high double digits was the game against Rutgers. And he just happened to have 10 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 steals.
Yeah.
So like Jones is becoming part of that big three. And I think that's huge and important, especially as we step into the next part we're going to talk about with Fletcher. But
Yeah.
I think what showed today is if they get anything from the bench, because Mason Gillis was really good from the bench.
Yes,
Thought
he
Caleb
was.
First was pretty good from the bench.
Yeah.
They just get a little bit of stuff from the bench. This team looks like the juggernaut that they have at times this year. And I think the team that we believe is there. The only real question was we're like, well, we've seen February go bad before.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah. I mean, to highlight your bench point. I mean,
oh,
after having
I
just
like that.
four, after having just four, versus Ohio State, we got Heide with 18. We got Caleb First with 5. Mason Gillis with 9. Miles Colvin with 5.
Yep.
So, I mean, you have 4 guys scored more from the bench in this game than the entirety of the bench did in that Ohio State game. And, you look at just the shooting in general from the bench, they were 8 of 11 from 3.
Is that good?
That is
I'm not a numbers guy.
that is pretty good. And considering we hit 12 threes in this game, that means
Yeah.
only 4 came from the starters and 8 came from the bench. And to have that kind of firepower available off the bench, as you said, shows the team that we think this Purdue squad can be when everybody is hitting on all cylinders, minus, of course, Fletcher Lawyer, who continues to ride the February funk.
Yeah, he didn't shoot well. I didn't think he played that badly. He had 5 assists. Matt Painter was effusive in his praise afterwards. How much of that is giving your guy confidence? I don't know.
Yeah, how much is
also
bucking him up?
is it worth nitpicking and like locating one guy out
Right,
in a
yeah.
30-point win? Like obviously everyone did their jobs. I thought Lawyer's energy was better. I thought he got to some rebounds, thought he got to some balls. I think he still has a ton of just intrinsic value away from scoring, but you do want to see him score. You want to see him shoot. Another turnover where it looked like he could have shot again and
Yeah.
instead tried to force it inside. That was his only real mistake of the game. So I think I get why everyone is so prone to not give him the benefit of the doubt because it was so ugly at the end of last year. But I think we also kind of forget that the only one, like the only guy ready, the only guy willing late in that game against Fairleigh Dickinson was Fletcher Lawyer. I'm not going to doubt him as a gamer. I'm not going to doubt his mentality. I'm not going to doubt his confidence because it's not wavered this season at all. We talked to these guys a lot from day one, and his message has not changed. It is not a front. And I do believe like last year it was a lot about that calf. They didn't really talk
Right.
about it because they had no other option. A
Yeah.
one-legged
Yeah.
lawyer was better than anything else they had. So you kind of just get put in a bad position if you mentioned it. But I do think that is a reasoning for why it was so bad last year. And obviously he's on a funk now.
Right. I mean, you look at the month of February for Fletcher
Mhm.
Lawyer. It's been 5 games. He has made 1 3-pointer, but he's only shot seven,
Right.
seven threes from what is, I mean, who is largely considered our best
Mhm.
3-point shooter,
I
especially
don't
given the
know
volume.
why people think that.
Well, I think
He's
because
never had a higher percentage than Smith. Gillis
but
is
he
a record holder.
he generally shoots more of them than those guys.
He's the
So
most prolific, except now we also have Lance Jones. So it's like,
right.
is he? I think the thing we miss, it's the Ohio State game because no one stepped up around him. So it falls on him because we have the most expectations for him out of
Yeah.
everyone in
Yeah.
that rotation.
That's absolutely fair. You're right.
So I think it's more that. And then so like as long as one or two other people step up, his absence, just pure scoring, doesn't really affect the game because he does do other things well. Um, Defensively is always going to be a little rough. You're
Yeah.
not going to like it. I mean, the natural state of this conversation is, does Heide deserve to play more? It's obviously
Yes.
one game. Heidi's had some moments on defense where he's been a half step slow, but there's no denying he is a better pure defender. Once again, he isn't a Adonis. Like he is 6'7", 220. He is what you want. He is a Greek statue out there. Like that is good. That is better on defense. Fletcher Lawyer is none of those things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I think you could definitely argue the minutes could perhaps come more towards the middle, and you're looking at, you know, kind of like tonight, 25 and 19.
Yeah.
Um, some of that, like if Heidi plays this well, he's gonna play.
I mean, yeah, how are you going to keep him off the floor?
And there's pretty much three pools that you can pull from that you're going to take minutes away from. You're going to take some a little from Lawyer. You're going to take some a little from Morton. You're going to take some, those 4 or 5 Colvin minutes, they're gone.
Oh, that's going to upset people because
That's fine.
as we talked about on the last episode, I feel like Colvin is the backup quarterback of this squad. He's the most popular player.
Right, right.
Because he doesn't play that much and everybody loves his potential, loves what he can do. And we've seen it in batches. And we're like, why don't we take that guy off the floor and put him out there? When we haven't seen Colvin in enough minutes, I think, in at least, in a single game, enough minutes to really know what he can do when he's out there for 20, 25 minutes.
That's one thing PJ told me 2 days ago that definitely stood out. And he's like, the one of the toughest things with Miles is he's not been allowed to play through his mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And like they admit, they know that. Like they believe in him. He does all the work. He's in film all the time. He works hard, but he hasn't actually something that I think we've noticed a shift in Painter since I would say it started in the Carson Edwards era, where before it was like, ooh, young guys, they don't really like obviously the baby boilers played because they had to.
They had to. Yeah, there's no one
Same
else on
thing
that
with
team.
Dakota and Vince. And like there was this perception of Painter, like young guys who shoot, they're gonna have a quick string. I
Yeah.
don't know if you've ever seen Carson Edwards play. He did not have the only thing quick about him was his trigger. And
Yeah.
Painter let that flourish, like let him play through some mistakes.
Yeah, he
And then
did.
Jaden Ivey, like Jaden Ivey
Jaden
got
Ivey played through a lot of
yeah.
mistakes.
So that's in Painter now. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen it with Braden and Fletch a little bit. They didn't really have a choice there, but I think for the first time, Painter has a guy who he doesn't have to play. who those mistakes are literally taking things off the table more than he's adding on. It was good to see him get a shot that he kind of had to manufacture late, but it obviously Heide was so hot in the first half that I'm sure Colvin had minutes to play in that first half,
Yeah.
but then Heide goes nuclear.
Right.
And so Morton's going to sit, Colvin's going to sit. Like, if anything, we should be applauding Painter. Like, oh, he didn't just stubbornly go to like 4 minutes of Colvin at the end. If you play that well, you're going to get those minutes.
Yeah, and you deserve those minutes. He
Yeah.
deserved every one of those 19 minutes,
Yep.
without a doubt. So, I mean, overall, Purdue. This I'm going to ask you because we talked about the Illinois game earlier in the year, and we talked about how for about 35-ish
Yeah.
minutes until that game kind of fell apart at the end. That was the best Purdue had looked,
Yep.
especially on offense all year. Was this game better than that Illinois game?
It was right on par. I think they shot better.
Yeah.
So that was a little difference. I think they shot better. Rutgers obviously can't keep up on the offensive end on their part.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
which
that's
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I think that's why the scoring margin got so out of hand. But if you're
Right.
talking about, they played very similar. There was no waiting. There was no Braden Smith pulling up and pulling back. Like, they were attacking. They were attacking in transition. They were attacking in half court. It was urgent. Smith was taking a couple of those little ones. Like, I thought the early pass out to Lance Jones in the left wing for a three, like, that's a good trend setter. If you're hitting that pass quick, that's a good sign that your offense is hovering, that Smith is feeling himself. Like, it was as close to perfect offensive performance, especially when you throw in the free throws for the second straight game, which is something that had been like a little bit of a concern.
It was starting to worry me for sure.
Yeah, and now Edey's like
few games
20 for 20 in his last two games or whatever
I think
it
so.
is. So
I think so.
We're seeing what we were begging, and we are punishing Purdue because last year I talked you into believing that they were going to turn it around late in the season.
That's true. You did. I don't know what it is. You've got that silver tongue every season. I'm like, I have my doubts. I tell you about them, and you're like, I don't know, Ledman. Here's A, B, and C. And I'm like, I agree with you. You sold me. We're winning the whole damn thing. And then, what happens?
Right. So, like, last year, you do that exercise at the end. So now you feel like you have to punish yourself and like your belief in Purdue.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you look back, you're like, oh, there were real issues and they showed up constantly.
Right.
Now Purdue's answering some of those issues. Also, they're doing it well. They're now 10 of their last 11. Mm-hmm. So the fact the narrative switched so quickly because of one loss is a little crazy. Like, they lost 4 games in February last year. That's a lot.
And you didn't see that same switch when UConn just got absolutely, taken to the woodshed.
Or Illinois even. Week. Like, the narrative around Illinois is like somehow Illinois believers still have good vibes when really they should be like just dark times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, giving up an 8-point lead, they were up by 7 with 35 seconds left, and they lost that game. I mean, that is just shocking.
Yeah, it's not good.
That was one of the biggest collapses I've ever seen.
They weren't playing for anything. I mean, it's not like the Big Ten title was like hanging right like there for them to grab.
Right within their grasp, and they just like a pro wrestler slowly climbing a ladder, only for it to fall on them. It's that clearly staged choreographed climbing of a ladder where it's like they can't get it and they've never been on a ladder before. It's like, what are you doing? So Purdue, I mean, obviously played a great offensive game, did everything right in this one. Does this get rid of all your fears? Does this allay all of those fears we had coming into this game after Ohio State? Or do you want to see it at least in another game on the road? I mean, I know the NCAA tournament's not played on the road. It's played in neutral sites, but how much of a factor is the home versus road split that Purdue is seeing right now impact your feeling?
It definitely matters. It's weird, right? Because like the one thing that Purdue fans shouldn't have to worry about is neutral floor games, because Purdue hasn't lost except
the one. Yeah,
the one.
We get it.
So like, I don't know how. I don't know how you make sense of that, and it's the toughest like little dance that we have to do, because like in general, yes, home and away games. Like Painter says it all the time. It's like away games and home games, they're not tournament games. They're like 5, 7 point swings, whatever it is with Vegas.
Yeah.
So I think it's I think you want to see this offense continue to buzz. I think you want to see the bench continue to grow. I do think it's important to see Heide continue to produce. He can't just exist out there. I don't think that's
Right.
good enough. I think that this game proves that, if nothing else. Like if you can just get a little bit, it changes the ceiling of this team. I'm certainly looking at that game at Illinois.
Oh yeah.
And if Purdue can come out, maybe even win, lose, or draw, if their offense looks good and they're able to do things and the defense is solid to acceptable, I mean, I think I still believe they're far superior to Illinois. So
Yeah.
I expect a win there. I'm just trying to imagine like if they lose by like 4 points in a game they're
Well,
winning
yeah,
for
if it's like
most of it.
if it's like a shootout like 92-88 or
Yeah.
something, you're gonna be like, ah, that's okay. I can live
Yeah.
with that. So not really related to how the team looks right now,
Mm-hmm.
but you were in attendance. I was only watching on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get any more information on those two technical fouls, one on Rutgers and one on Heide? Just the fact that they were so quick right after a three. I don't know if anything specific was said or what was said, but those refs had a snap trigger on those in that game yesterday.
Painter talked about it briefly. Obviously, the one happened right in front of him.
Right.
And I think the accurate way to describe what happened is kind of what he said, which was as soon as they called that one on Fernandez, he called his guys together and he said, if you guys do anything, they're calling one back. Um, so it was definitely just like what happened with Heide is he hit the three right in front. One of their guys on the bench yelled, he turned around and I'm assuming said something or
Yeah.
just the look enough. So like they were two both weak technical fouls.
Yeah.
They were two, they were the referee equivalent of a tough guy try or a fake tough guy trying to like flex his muscles at the beginning.
Right.
Hold me back. We're
Yeah.
we're gonna get control of this game,
Right.
which
Yeah.
wasn't that chippy, by the way.
Nothing was out of
Like
control.
nothing had
Yeah, at all.
happened. So like it was, I said it at the time, like that Fernandez technical was weak. It was
Yeah,
so
it was
weak that
soft.
like they called it on Heide, and I'm just like, it's better than the alternative because Rutgers didn't deserve one there, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
it's just silly. Like
Yeah.
make a shot, look at the bench. Who cares?
Yeah. Neither
These guys
neither
aren't
call made
fighting.
neither call made much sense to me, unless, like I said, I mean, and Robbie Hummel mentioned this on the broadcast. He's like, I don't know, maybe they said the magic words, like maybe they said something really terrible. He goes,
Ooh,
I can't read what
what's
their
the
lips
worst
said. I
word
can't.
they could say?
Well, I don't know, man.
Mm.
Maybe in because they said it to the bench or their the other Purdue player for the first one, but it's not like they went after the ref. I can
Mm.
understand a quick trigger if they go after the ref, and say something, but
Man,
I don't know. I didn't
if I was a
understand it.
college player, the amount of like stuff I would like Ron Artest like whisper in the ear just constantly. All the things to get guys mad or flustered. All the things.
Who was it in the NBA who was blowing on LeBron that one time?
Lance Stevenson.
Lance Stevenson. That's right.
Lancey
Just
Lancey. It's either Lance or Meta World Peace. One or the other.
yeah. Well, they're both wild people. So there we go. That is Purdue Rutgers. Any other final thoughts before we take a break and talk about Purdue's next game on the road at Michigan?
I thought Trey was really good again.
Okay.
And it didn't come out in like points really, but like I think I'm dumb. Like Painter says these
I've
things.
always said that about
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah, it's fair. I, I think I think we haven't totally been listening to Painter when why he really likes Trey out there, and the scoring is nice. Though I think we could both argue that like if you're actually just going for offense, that never made sense. Mason Gillis has always been the offensive bump.
Right.
But his favorite thing about, well, not favorite thing about Zach Edey, but like one of the things about Zach Edey that's so special is he's a big guy that can rebound out of his area. And that's so hard to deal with. Guess what Trey does when he's playing really hard?
Rebound.
Rebounds the hell out of his area.
Yeah.
So when you can combine those two things, those two things, that effort, that size, that moving towards ball is so much stickier game to game than anything else you're going to get. Even Mason's shot, even whatever else. Just like if you can start the game, and it didn't work on the boards to start because like Rutgers got
Yeah,
5
Rutgers
offensive
did
rebounds,
great on
but
yeah at the beginning.
like the start of the second half, and I thought Trey was the one guy like kind of keeping it half in early in the game too. Just like when Trey is like full effort, he is so good at just getting his hands on the ball, causing a little chaos. His size there with Edie, it's just like it's a statement, and like it's a real tough guy statement. Like
Right.
it's a someone tries to bump into you and then you get knocked off course and you're like, this isn't going to be fun for 40 minutes.
True. True.
And
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be up against either of those guys.
yeah, so I think that is definitely something where, if Purdue could have done that, last year in the NCAA tournament, maybe, maybe, maybe things are different.
Yeah, well, we can play that game all day. So there we go. That's Purdue Rutgers, a dominant Purdue victory. We're going to take a break, come back, and look ahead to Purdue heading on the road to Ann Arbor, Michigan.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 as we all get ready for the best month of the year, March Madness. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use the bonus code FIELD150 and you will get $150 in free bets on your first wager with BetMGM, regardless of whether or not you win that first bet. Here's the best part. All you need to do is deposit and bet $5 of your hard-earned money. This is how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD150. That's FIELD150. Deposit at least $5 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $150 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your bet. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD150 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available in one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient when I have to go cover games in Philly or New York, which happens quite a bit. When you cross state borders, you just log into your existing account and fire away. You don't have to create a new account in each state. It's easy, it's simple, and it's clean. And most importantly, we have some fun stuff coming up for the conference tournaments and for the NCAA tournament. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boost, and my personal favorite, a nice little parlay boost here and there. So download the BetMGM app and sign up today. Big news, guys. I am thrilled to announce that we have partnered with Autograph, a company founded by the GOAT himself, Tom Brady. The Autograph fandom app gives you access to the best college hoops content, fan contests, and exclusive rewards like discounted tickets, all for doing the things that diehard fans like you already do, following your favorite team in the news and listening to podcasts just like this one. When Tom, and yes, I am calling him Tom, we're on a first name basis these days, co-founded Autograph, he had one mission in mind: change the fan experience for the better. It works like this. You get all of your college hoops content you want in one place. You get articles from your favorite writers, pods from your favorite hosts, contests from your favorite creators, all on the feeds and the sites that you already enjoy. But instead of having to go to all these different places, it all comes to you in one spot, the Autograph fandom app. But here's the best part. The more content that you consume, the higher you rank in the app. As you consider to level up in status on the app, you can unlock unique rewards curated exclusively for you. So download the free Autograph app in the App Store and use the referral code F68, that's F68, or tap in at the link in the description below or in the podcast app of your choosing to start earning points for doing something as normal as listening to this very podcast.
And we are back. So Purdue heads up to Ann Arbor, Michigan on Sunday to take on the Michigan Wolverines. This will be the second meeting between these two. They obviously already met in Mackey Arena. 99-67 was the final score in that one. So
Treating
not
them
exactly
like Rutgers.
Exactly. Not exactly a competitive game there. And you'll recall that Michigan was in the middle of a strange suspension for their leading scorer, their best point guard, I believe, who couldn't leave the state of Michigan for away games.
Why was that again, Levin?
I don't know.
Homework.
Was that confirmed? Is that what it actually was?
It
seems the most likely explanation.
It seems, I almost said logical, but more like it sounds like the most, it sounds like the most Juwan Howard of answers.
Yeah. So speaking of, do we think Juwan Howard will be coaching this game?
This game.
I wonder if it's someone's birthday.
I checked. No one's birthday.
Okay.
No one is from Ann Arbor. No one played at Purdue. I think that could have been a special occasion.
It could have. It could have.
I do believe Matt Painter sent someone a birthday card once, so I don't know if that's going to be as like a special thing.
So maybe he'll coach both teams.
Sneaky.
Painter will just switch halves.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's to be honest, it's amazing Juwan Howard's still there.
If he wasn't Juwan Howard, he would not be. I can't imagine. Like, if he was not Juwan Howard, a member of the Fab
Are you
Five,
saying like legally, like if like the law changes and like you become a different person, you're not still obligated for the job?
For the contract, yeah. It's a way to get out of a contract. Little known fact. Just change your name. No, if he wasn't
Does that work on parking tickets too?
No, it does not.
Okay.
If he wasn't Juwan Howard, former, Michigan basketball star, beloved member of the Fab Five, I can't. Beloved's
a strong word now.
Well, I mean, before he became the head coach. Been loved.
He loved to been loved.
You should write a book about Juwan Howard, and that should be the title. Just the title. I don't even care what's on the inside.
Who knows?
Just you got the title and work from there.
Yep, there'll be 5 chapters.
I don't have a story yet, but we'll go. I can't imagine any coach in this situation, especially given that he slapped somebody in the head last year.
No, we don't worry about those things.
Would still be employed. So
yeah, but that was his first physical altercation.
Oh well, then.
Oh no, wait, it wasn't.
I can't even. I don't even know, man. The guy has had a wild couple years there in Michigan. Right now they're 8-19 overall. They sit at 14th place in the Big Ten. 3-13 in Big Ten play. Their last Big Ten win was against Wisconsin, of all teams.
Poor went out for Wisconsin.
Yeah, so
them poor Badgers.
We broke them somehow. I don't know what that was about. So they've lost their last 4 games. Then they beat Wisconsin. So then
they are 2-14 in their last 16 games.
There you go.
That's a whole lot of salmon.
Not good. Yes, salmon, again, for those that don't follow KenPom, salmon or pinkish or whatever you want to call it, very bad to see in your rankings and on your side. That means you're not a good ranking in that particular category, and also means you've lost those basketball games. So you don't love to see the salmon color.
It's not great. Their best win remains, the Wisconsin. I guess happy for Doug McDaniel that he gets to join this once proud institution again.
He's averaging 16 and 4 assists, 16 points on the season. So we'll see how he does against Purdue. Obviously, he was not there that first go round, as we said. Look, far be it from me to say this is not going to be a basketball game, because we thought they were going to beat Ohio State as well. But Casey, do we think there's any legitimate chance that the addition of McDaniel and maybe anything else that has happened is going to make up for a 32-point deficit?
I have never looked less forward to a drive for a game in my life. No, wouldn't we all be better served with a bye game this weekend?
I mean,
just mark it off the schedule.
It wouldn't be bad
for this game.
It wouldn't be bad. Let me tell you, here's what you do. You go up to Ann Arbor. Do you like Detroit style pizza?
Sicilian? It's pretty decent.
Go to Buddy's Pizza.
Buddy's? Okay.
Yeah. Get yourself
place called Buddy's.
A nice pizza from there.
Nice
It'll
pizza.
be worth the trip.
What's on a nice pizza?
Well, I mean, it's whatever toppings you want. It's not the
No, you don't
toppings.
have a topping recommendation for it.
I mean, for me, it's always, pepperoni or if they've got a good Italian sausage. But
Okay.
Buddy's Pizza, very good pizza. So I would recommend going there. Get
Mhm.
yourself a pizza. That'll make the trip a little more palatable for you before you got to head into the Chrysler Center.
Are you a
And
pineapple person?
in general, yes. On pizza, no.
Okay.
Are you?
No.
Okay.
I'm not like anti pineapple. I love pineapple and like my red curry. Like it's delicious.
I just like pineapple, as
Mhm.
itself. It's just a delicious fruit.
Yeah. It's not like I want to talk about anything besides this game. Pineapple.
Well, okay. There's at least something we can talk
figs.
about because
I put figs on pizza. I like that.
my wife likes figs on pizza as well. We went to this pizza place in DC called Revolution once, and she had a pizza with honey and fig on it.
Yep.
And she absolutely loved it.
Delicious.
It's one of her favorite pizzas of all time. So
We love that.
So obviously not a game we're really looking forward to watching. It's on Sunday afternoon. Really hope that Purdue can take care of business in that one. But an additional reason for that is, Purdue lost at Ohio State. So we looked like the Big Ten race was getting a little bit closer. But then Illinois, as we said in the first half, had one of the most ridiculous collapses we've ever seen and lost to Penn State. So now that puts basically Purdue back to where they would have been had they beaten Ohio State. So right now, their magic number to get at least a share of the Big Ten is 2.
Say it, Lippman. Say it.
Say what? That you were right?
Yeah.
I was, of course, that's what you wanted me to say.
Yeah.
So if Iowa gets one by Illinois on Saturday, Purdue then could clinch the Big Ten on Sunday in Michigan.
Please,
So
because I have nothing else I
that'll at
want to
least
write.
give you
There's nothing else to write about the game.
That'll give you something.
Yeah.
That'll give you something. So that would be great for Purdue because then that takes a lot of the pressure off as they go down this home stretch. So
you think they feel pressure about the Big Ten?
I mean, I'm sure they do a little bit. Nothing close to what they feel regarding, the NCAA tournament. But when you're chasing a championship, it matters, and they want to, close it out and win that thing. So if the game is at Illinois, so it's Iowa at Illinois on Saturday, 2:15 tip on BTN. I mean, that's going to have big implications for what Purdue is playing for on Sunday, or if we have to wait until the game against Michigan State, where Purdue could clinch a share of the Big Ten title. So something to watch for as this one gets close.
Not just this game, but Sundays in general.
I mean, I don't love afternoon games in general because I have a 3-year-old son and he does not want to be sitting around doing anything while a game is on at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. So it's like I'm sitting here reading books. I'm playing with Legos as I watch. You can see behind me, we've got giant bricks we build with. There's all these different cubbies. I mean, we've got everything down here. So to me, those are some of the worst games. You give me an 8:30 tip.
I say 7's too early for you, apparently.
Yeah. Well, 7, I got to do bath time. I got to get, we got to get ready for bed. It's having children really cuts into your sports time, man. That's all I'm saying.
Do you think there's like room to make like the same way like a dishwasher where you can just set them in and like forget about it for a few minutes? Do you think you can do that with a baby?
Oh, well, first of all, he's not a baby. He's 3.5. You definitely don't want to do that with a baby.
Stronger locks.
Yeah. Maybe we move on to this conversation before CPS gets called on you.
It's like a little baby wash.
Even though you don't have a child, I'm worried. I
do. And speaking of anything about not this game,
not this Michigan game.
So I moved in with a girlfriend. She has a cat, and this is the first cat of my life. It's been an interesting ride. Pretty sweet cat. The cat doesn't drink water. From the moment she got it here, she's taking it to the vet, and the vet says like sometimes cats don't do it. We can do like an operation to do something. I don't know what the operation is. And he said the other option is just feed it wet food, and it'll get the liquid from the wet food.
What?
Yeah, I don't understand. It baffles my mind. I guess these are creatures from the desert and they can live with little water. I don't know. But the cat is alive, and before this morning, I was woken up this morning, partially why I got out of bed so early. Because at 8:30, she came to me and she said, "Oh my God, the craziest thing just happened." And I instantly am alarmed. And then she's like, "It's a
Well,
good
yeah.
thing." And I go out to the kitchen and the cat is drinking out of the dog bowl water
Well,
for
there
the
you go.
first time ever. Just at it. How do you just learn how to drink water all of a sudden?
We had a cat who loved to drink out of the sink. So would like bat at the
Ah,
handle on the sink and then
ah.
use, stick your head under there and drink that way. So, maybe just give him one of the bubble fountains that the water
Apparently he
constantly
likes dog
goes.
water bowls.
So who
It's
knows? Who
baffling.
knows?
Just baffling. I've
Listen,
never.
listen.
How does something alive doesn't drink water? In the comments below,
You
if you have
just
ever
you
heard of
just
this,
you just told me during the break that you've had no water today.
I'm barely alive.
You and this cat are a good match. Maybe if you start drinking water, the cat will
Desert
start drinking
creatures.
water.
I
Yeah.
came from pharaohs.
Listen, we're way off topic. We've lost everyone. No one is watching at this point. So we might as well finish with one other thing that's off topic. Who's going to win the elimination chamber, Casey?
Oh, it's
that
another
is
tough
on-
one, right?
That is on in
You gotta wake up at
hours.
5 a.m. Yeah, watch a little.
No, I am not. No, I'm not.
All right, so the winner gets
a shot at
winner
Seth
gets a
Rollins
shot at
at
Seth
WrestleMania.
Rollins. It's got to be Drew.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be
Has
Drew.
to be.
It's got to be Drew.
I mean,
Even though I would screw with Logan Paul and Logan and Seth running it back again. That was a great match last year.
I still think it's McIntyre.
True. It's true.
Because I think they want Logan Paul to go. I still think KO is going to get another shot at Logan Paul, and they're going to have him and Paul go at each other in the elimination chamber because they're both in it. So it'll set up maybe a WrestleMania match.
Perth,
is
Australia.
My guess. Yeah.
Did you know Perth, Australia was a place before this?
I did.
I did not.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Australia scares me.
Everything
place.
there tries to kill you. Every animal is giant and they all can eat you.
Yep.
And they fought a war against the ostriches, I believe, and they lost.
Ooh.
So, you don't want to mess with Australia.
Talk about a metaphor. Finally, we're back to this game. The metaphor for Michigan basketball.
There you go. Fighting against the ostriches.
They fought the ostriches and lost.
And they lost. So, I mean, anything you want to give me about this Michigan game so we can get out of here on at least some semblance of basketball talk?
It's a crappy environment, so it's not like it's going to be a home court advantage.
There you go.
So, enjoy your national championship football, Wolverines.
There you go. Yeah, the only way a good environment will happen in that arena.
Have you ever met a Michigan basketball fan?
Yes, but only because I have family members who went to Michigan. So they're all around.
We're not talking
Michigan
about Juan,
sports
right?
fans. No.
What up, Juan?
Hi, Juan. He probably doesn't watch. He's off presenting at places with doctors.
I know he came to West Lafayette, didn't even holler at the boy.
He was at the basketball game
I know,
too.
didn't even holler.
Unbelievable. He used to edit our podcast. Can't even say hi. Unbelievable. So there you go, folks. Purdue could have a chance to clinch the Big Ten on Sunday in Michigan. We'll see if Iowa can do Purdue a solid. But until then, for Casey and myself, thanks for joining us. Till next time, boiler up.
Yes.